everyone, this is Natalie with Champion of Coins Tarot. I hope that you all are doing very well today. I wanted to come on to catalog all of the decks that I worked with for the first quarter of 2023. Now, normally folks share monthly update videos, and that was fully my intention. However, I loved working with this subsection of decks so much that at the end of the month, I didn't put them away. I just kept them out and continued adding on to the pile. So I think I finally reached critical mass where I'm like, that is enough decks to be working with at any one point of time. And I am going to be putting them away after this video. However, I did want to come on and to share with all of you because a lot of you ask me how I work with every single deck in my collection in a given year. And the answer is that I randomly assign all of the decks that I'm going to be working with for a month using a random dice generator and then kind of go from there. And I've obviously been playing very fast and very loose with that and just continuing to add on more and more. And I've really been enjoying deck pairs. So reading multiple tarot decks at once, throwing some oracle in there for clarifiers. That's been a lot of fun, and just kind of going where I feel intuitively guided to go in terms of making up spreads. Sometimes like I'll just get a nudge that it's like, okay, this final card needs to come from this place instead. And that's been very fun and very rewarding to work with. So I'm going to be going in order from January all the way through March. And I do want to apologize, by the way. It is storm season here in the Midwest, and the wind is just crazy. It's shaking my house right now. So if there is any issues with the audio, it's the weather, and I sincerely apologize for that. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into January. So the first two decks that I worked with were the Japaridze Tarot by US Games and the Iris Oracle, which is an independently published oracle deck. And these are really beautiful, really surrealist. I believe that the Japaridze Tarot is a combination of like oil paintings and also collaged artwork, which is really lovely. And then the Iris Oracle is this hand-drawn like crayon and colored pencil and oil pastel work that has more of a folksy vibe to it. I actually really love using these together because I find that the Japaridze Tarot has a very calm, almost like a very grounded type of energy, despite how expansive it is with the artwork. And then the Iris Oracle is really well suited for shadow work of any kind, but really for inner child work and kind of going back and finding the root cause of some of the patterns or some of the challenges that we might be facing within ourselves and in relationships. So this was a really powerful, really healing combination, just a huge jump start to the beginning of the year. And I do think that there are a lot of like really cool parallels in the artwork. So like, I love this. I love this a lot. And then next, I actually kind of started working with this trio of decks, one that has been a staple in my collection for a very long time, and then two that were Hanukkah gifts to myself. And so we have the Night Sun Tarot by Fabio Lestrani, amazing, the Mythical Goddess Tarot, and then the Dark Goddess Oracle. So Night Sun Tarot is this really amazing, just esoteric deep dive and exploration. Really fantastic. I think this for me has kind of like a divine masculine energy, whereas obviously the Mythical Goddess Tarot like really embodies that divine feminine spirit. And they play really well. Like right off the bat, we're instantly getting some Bereshit, some Book of Genesis vibes with the apple and the serpent here. But this has been really great. I always find something new and something different and something really powerful when I look at these images. Night Sun has been more of an uphill journey for me because I got it when I was still relatively new to reading tarot. And so now going back to it with this kind of lens that I have into world mythology, into astrology, into the Hebrew alphabet, and so on and so forth, has been really fulfilling. Whereas Mythical Goddess is just purely intuitive. Like when I saw the images from this deck online, I instantly knew what they meant to me. And so that has been really, really powerful. I just love the art style in both of these. I like the digital mixed with the kind of more traditional like oil paintings. It's just really, really fantastic. So I've been using both of these together and by themselves just constantly. And that's been really great. And then I do want to show off the Dark Goddess Oracle as well, because this was kind of a left field choice for me. I knew after getting the Mythical Goddess that like I wanted to have kind of a darker goddess oracle deck to be able to use as a clarifier, and it's been amazing with both of these. And the reason why I got it when perhaps I normally would not is because it just has the same kind of 3D video game model style that the Night Sun Tarot has. The keywords are really spot on as well. So it just really cuts through to the heart of the matter. Again, really great for shadow work. This deck also has a huge sense of humor. And it definitely has told me to clean my room on more than one occasion. It's like, are you feeling sad? It's because you live in chaos. Go clean. Some of these cards I could like do without because it does veer into hypersexualized territory. But also, like, it has that video game vibe for me. So I'm okay with that. It doesn't prevent me necessarily from working with the deck. And then another thing that I really love is this, out of all of the goddess-themed decks that I've seen out there, has the most representation of Near Eastern goddesses. So we have Tiamat, the primordial mother, Inara, who is a Hittite trickster goddess, Lilith, the OG demoness, Ereshkigal, goddess of death, which this like imagery is Mayan to me. Like, I feel like they initially intended this card to represent another goddess and then decided to repurpose it for Ereshkigal, and it doesn't work. Like, this is clearly not Sumerian, not Babylonian, not any kind of ancient Near Eastern style imagery. This is like 700 AD Mayan ritual gear that's going on here. But I love Ereshkigal. I love the Descent of Inanna myth. So I'm glad that she's there, and I do think that the keyword is accurate. And then you have Inanna herself, looking much more culturally appropriate to the ancient Sumerian vibe. So those three I absolutely love, have been super, super powerful and empowering to work with. And I am planning on making dedicated review videos for all three of these in the near future. And then we have the best combination of all time, in my opinion, which is Fallen Angels Oracle and the Victorian Romantic Tarot. I've talked about these a little bit, I think in my Underdog deck video, but I was really struggling to connect with the Victorian Romantic for a long time because I have the Russian edition and I don't speak Russian. So even though this is very much Rider-Waite-Smith inspired, I get confused a lot of the time. So what I did was I ended up using the Fallen Angels Oracle as a clarifier, and it has been absolutely beautiful to work with. Like, King of Swords and Restraint. So powerful. Like the falcon imagery, the air energy is just off the charts. are like the star and celebration, and they're mirroring one another's poses. Like, there's just so much beautiful visual synchronicity in this deck, and it has been so incredible to work with. The Victorian Romantic by nature does have a very like specific focus on romantic relationships, but it's also a very good general reader as well, and has been very spot on in terms of some of the situations that have kind of been going on in my personal and professional life. And so that has been, you know, just really great to work with. So yeah, I love these. Like, there we go. I really just can't think of a better deck combination, and I'm so, so happy that it is here and it is in my life. Like, oh my God. Amazing, amazing. If I discovered this years ago, I think the entire trajectory of my personal tarot practice would have changed dramatically. All right, so those are the decks that I was working with in January. Ones that I was not really intending to work with in January because they didn't come up in the random number generator, or like the random dice generator, but that I have loved using nonetheless, are Fantastical Tarot, which is just such a great shadow work deck. I use this for dream work. I don't think I'm going to continue using it for that practice anymore. This is just kind of general, like, shadow exploration, but it's really comforting. Like, it really helps you to move through hard times and feel very loved and very supported. And it also just flows so beautifully in a spread because you have like these very storybook kind of situations. It's just really fantastic. I love it. And then the other one too, which I was initially using for Dungeons and Dragons, but have done a bunch of readings with for myself and have loved, is the Tarot of Loka. And I do have a review video for this on the channel now. This is a pith style deck, which is very elemental. The majors are so beautifully detailed. I absolutely love them. Just great, fiery, talkative, fun, imaginative readings and workings. So I will leave a link to that review video down below if you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts on this deck. All right, so now we are moving into February. So February was kind of like the most inconsistent month, where there were some that I really vibed with and some that I didn't. So starting off with the ones that I really loved and enjoyed working with, I got the Tarot of Trees, and this is the kind of mini edition on Etsy, and it is all tree themed. And I got it, oh my goodness, because of the Jewish holiday of Tu B'Shvat, which normally takes place in January or February every single year. It is the new year of trees, and it has a lot of mystical significance for us in terms of recommitting to our relationship with the land, to natural cycles, and also it holds a lot of Kabbalistic significance as well in terms of the way that we celebrate. So I was like, all right, I need to get on this. I need the tree deck. And I'm still trying to get to know it. I actually have really been using this with the Fantastical Tarot and also with the Gorgon's Tarot, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I really do like how bright and vibrant it is and how there's a lot of like motion. There's a lot of energy in the trees. And so they all do feel very unique and distinct from one another. And you can kind of see some of the Rider-Waite-Smith influences coming through. And then I do also have the Tu B'Shvat Tarot, or the Jewish Mystic cards. They've been marketed as both by Jessica Tamar Deutsch. I believe it's currently out of print, but this one is actually directly inspired by the holiday of Tu B'Shvat. All of the different kinds of trees and plants that we traditionally honor during that time, as well as the moon phases and elements of the Tu B'Shvat Seder, where each step of that Seder meal represents a journey into the 4 Kabbalistic worlds. So this has been lovely. Really enjoyed using it with the Tarot of Trees, of course, and then I've also really enjoyed using it with the Celestial Tarot, which was, again, another pick for February. And this one is an astrological themed deck. It's very watery to me, very pensive and very meditative. Great for doing readings around the seasonal cycles. I am using this for the Deck and Walk as well, and I did my reading with this for the Two of Wands this morning, actually, which was really kind of beautiful and inspiring and so on and so forth. So this is one that's still, it's like in that study category. I've had it for a long time. I'm excited to be able to get to know it on a deeper level through the study practice. And then more February picks. We have, of course, Soul's Journey lesson cards, which is my favorite oracle deck of all time. It goes well with everything. I love it to pieces. I have a review video of this deck as well, which I can leave linked. But I love the keywords. I love the affirmations. It contains a great balance of light and shadow. So spot on, and another deck that has a really great sense of humor to it. So you just leave feeling really empowered, or just really inspired after working with this. So love it, love it, love it. All right. I have decks everywhere. Again, this is like a much more rambly video, you guys. I'm doing my best here to try to keep it organized. Okay, next is The Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. I'm not going to talk too much about this one because you already know that this is my favorite deck of all time, and I love it to pieces. And I have a review video on the channel if you want to hear more detail about my relationship with this, but this is just so good, and always on the tarot reading table. Next is Messages from Your Angels Oracle. So I picked this up in a thrift store when my boyfriend and I were on vacation, and I didn't think that I was going to like this deck, and I actually really, really like this deck. I don't have any oracle decks that are this like uplifting and this just kind of peaceful and hopeful. A lot of my oracle decks, as you've seen, really veer more into that shadow territory. So this is just such a breath of fresh air for me personally. And even though I have a lot of gripes with this deck, which I went into in my review video for it, I do think that for what it is, it provides a lot of value to me personally as a reader. So really, really vibing there. And then these last 3 decks for February are ones that I really like, but that I didn't connect with at the time. And so I think I'm going to be leaving these out to kind of work with more intentionally going forward. First is the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot, which is absolutely beautiful. This is also a deck that has extra moon phase cards in it. A lot of you have asked me if I would do a review video on this deck, and to be honest, I don't think that I'm there yet. I just haven't really connected with this deck as much as others, and part of that I think is the cardstock. I really don't like linen cardstock. I'm usually not a cardstock person, or it doesn't really impact my ability to work with the deck. But in the case of linen, it just is so slippery and it goes everywhere. And I think that kind of experience has perhaps deterred me from working with it. But I do think that it's beautiful, and from past experience, it does read very well and very accurately. So I'm going to keep this out, and I'm going to continue to give it a fair shake. Then we have the Ancient Italian Tarot, which this is the only true kind of Marseille or historic pip style deck that I have left, and I've held on to it because it is so beautiful. But I didn't get around to doing the Marseille study in February that I intended to, and so that work is shelved until I get to the Marseille Tarot Revealed by Yoav Ben-Dov, which I've also mentioned, I think, in another video of mine. But yeah, this is beautiful. Only read with it a couple of times, and so I want to keep that out more. And then the last deck for February is the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations, published by Lo Scarabeo. This is an oracle deck that was a longtime favorite of mine, but for some reason or another, we just didn't vibe this time around. I think because I was working with the messages from your angels, and that was so new and fresh and exciting to me that I just felt more motivated to work with that, as opposed to this deck, which is much more mature and cerebral and meditative. But we're entering into big holiday season for us with Passover, counting the Omer, Shavuot, and this deck does have kind of the Kabbalistic associations on some of the cards. So I think I might also keep this one out and continue to work with it this spring. All right, and now we have made it into the current month of March. So this is also kind of a large pile of decks. I don't know why March ended up being more deck heavy than some of the other ones. I think that's literally just the way that the dice fell when I was picking these out. But first is a new deck to me, which is the Gypsy Palace Tarot. This deck I have wanted for a very long time, and I felt confident enough to finally get it because this is very intuitive. It kind of loosely follows the Rider-Waite, but it has its own energy, its own direction and vibe, which is very powerful. And I do think that this is a very sunny and optimistic deck. From the readings that I've done so far, I do feel the sense of joy, the sense of playfulness from it. But this is one that I think I'm going to have to spend a lot of time with and kind of develop my own card meanings and associations for it. So that is Gypsy Palace. Next is the Gorgon's Tarot, which I trimmed in between the Underdog deck video and now. I just took the black border off and all the titles, and it is so fantastic. So I've had this deck for a very long time, always loved the artwork. Snakes are a very important part of my spiritual practice, I would say. I have a very deep connection with them, and so that's what drew me to this deck. But I just wasn't working with it more than a 1 or 2 card draw because it was so huge and I couldn't shuffle it before. And now I can shuffle with it. And now I am doing all of the big, powerful, punchy spreads that I've always wanted to do with it. And I absolutely love it. So super happy. I think I am going to edge this deck, maybe in black, maybe in red for a really vibrant pop of color. But yeah, it just totally changed the relationship that I have with it, and I have not been able to put it down. So good. I also love this kind of 80s hair, kind of gothy aesthetic that it has in some cards. So that's the Gorgon's Tarot. Next is the Sacred Rose Tarot. which I have just absolutely loved. I was worried for a while because I thought that I wasn't connecting with this deck as intensely as I did when I first got it. But I don't know what happened, but now it reads so clearly. It is so wise and beautiful and just has this amazing ethereal quality. Just love it so much, and I'm glad that it's back in working rotation. Just absolutely amazing. I think I also have enough familiarity and enough thoughts and feelings about the artwork that I can do a review video on that as well. A deck that I've actually really enjoyed pairing with it is the Intuition Oracle, which is by Monty Farber and Amy Zerner, the creators of the Enchanted Tarot. And this is an archetypal deck that has the name of the archetype and the affirmation on the back of the cards. And this has a very similar color palette to the Sacred Rose Tarot. And so I think that's why I've really enjoyed working with the two of them together. It's just a really rich aesthetic experience. But yeah, I love this style of collage artwork so much, where it's part fabric and then part like these illustrations or these photographs of statues from around the world. It's just such a well-balanced oracle deck. I really, really enjoy it a lot. Next is the Daniloff Tarot. And this has been, is it upside down? Yes. The Daniloff Tarot is a deck that is very near and dear to my heart. And I'll go into that in another video because it's very personal. But this is a deck that I have done some serious spellcrafting with in the past, and I've only used it for that purpose. I haven't done any regular tarot readings with it in a very long time. And so I did that, and it was interesting. Very masculine, very kind of grounded, action-oriented. Like the Eight of Pentacles comes up a lot when working with this deck. Just really focused on how you are going to manifest your will in the world, how you're going to create what you want to create in the world. So, I mean, I do love it so much. The artwork is absolutely amazing. And it's one of my all-time favorites for that alone, without the magical aspect. But yeah, I'm not really in a place where I'm doing any kind of magic right now. And so it was interesting just to kind of talk with this deck and to kind of reconnect with the artwork. And we will see what we get up to going forward. Okay. Then next we have the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle, which is a Thoth clone that has affirmations or questions and prompts for reflection on all of the cards. This is just kick-ass, inspirational, also very shadowy, but really great. And I have enjoyed actually using this more as an oracle and pulling this as a clarifier for readings with the Gorgon's Tarot, with the Sacred Rose Tarot. I really love it. And also it's so floral, and so that's been really great as everything has started to come into bloom all around me this season. So love this deck. Love this deck. Next is the Spiral Oracle, which is another one of my all-time favorites. This deck is so beautiful and meditative. There is going to be some nudity in this one, so I do apologize, but yeah, it's psychedelic. It's so beautiful and affirming and also thought-provoking. I really enjoy the meditations and the affirmations that are in the guidebook. This is a great one card draw or a great way to close out a tarot reading with a message of love and affirmation. And this really pushes you to be open-minded. I also love just the animal and the plant energy that's woven in here. This is very true of a lot of experiences that I have had in meditation or just heightened states of consciousness. So I really enjoy this deck a lot, and it's been amazing to reconnect with. Okay. And then the last few decks are crazy because these are the ones that really pushed me into doing my ancestor study. Or I guess ancestor work. Study and work at the same time. So the first is the Crystal Tarot by Elizabeth Trevison. This deck is another one that I've had for a very long time and was having some difficulty connecting with because it is a reinterpretation of Eudes Picard's tarot system where the cups are air and the swords are water. So it's beautiful, but that would kind of get me tripped up when doing readings. But I did a really powerful reading with this deck where I felt absolutely called to return to my genealogy project with my family and to begin honoring and regularly talking with my ancestors. And it has just been so beautiful and so freeing and inspiring and revolutionary in my spiritual practice. My gosh, I didn't think that this was going to be an ancestor-focused deck, but it is, and that's amazing. And then also another really big ancestor deck for me is the Etruscan Tarot by Lo Scarabeo, which is now out of print, but I got it secondhand for a very good price. And yeah, this also immediately when it came in, the ancestors were like, this is ours. This is ours too. There have been a few deck experiences where it's like you open it up, you pull a card, and you're like, oh, this is what we're going to be doing. This was like one of those times, and I'm not going to say too much more about it because I think I'm going to save that for a general ancestor study follow-up video, but my God, this has been so powerful and incredible to work with too. All right, and then the last two decks, y'all. These are the deck and study decks that I have specifically been using for Aries season, and that is the Babylonian Tarot and the Mary L. Tarot. So Babylonian Tarot, I just have such a deep affinity for because I really enjoy studying ancient Judaism, ancient Israelite religion, and the parallels with other ancient Near Eastern traditions. So this has been just incredible to work with. And then the Mary L. Tarot is one that I have really struggled to connect with over the years because I think it's beautiful, but there's so many layers to this deck that it has been a bit difficult for me. So I thought that using it for the deck and study would help me to be able to slowly build up more of an association with these cards. And it and the Babylonian Tarot just work so well together. They affirm the messages from each other so much, and it's so powerful. So I've really enjoyed journaling with these, thinking about the Two of Wands, thinking about where these themes of expansion and dominion and intentionality are showing up for me within my life, and especially within my relationship with my spiritual practice. And it's been phenomenal. So really, really enjoying working with these throughout the rest of Aries season and reporting back for all of you. So that is the massive catch-up video for all of the decks that I've been working with the first quarter of the year. Let me know if you have any of these decks as well. I would love to compare and contrast experiences with them. Also, let me know if there are any decks that you would like me to do a review on or to go into more detail. I know that this was a really speedy, really chatty video, so I would be happy to expand on any of the titles that I have mentioned here for all of you. So thank you so much, as always, for spending time with me today. I so deeply appreciate all of you, and I'm sending you much love and much light as you walk along your own path. Bye!